It's hitting hard to hear with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Don't forget, head over to youtube.com. Put Locked On Sports Atlanta into your browser. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Of course, leave us a comment there. Free and available also, too, to download this on all of your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify, Odyssey. When you get there, leave us a 5-star review. Tell us what you think about the show. And, of course, follow me on my personal Twitter page at JMCH316. We were just talking about Arthur Smith and where he comes in among NFL head coaches at 20th. And I understand, look, this roster is really bad. You want to know why? So I came across an article and this ticked me off. So came across an article talking about contracts and what kind of money we're looking at for 2019. Okay, now let's do some quick math. All right, let's see. 1, 2. Okay, so that's 3 years ago that we're talking. We're not talking about a decade ago. We're not talking about 7 or 8 years ago. We're talking about 3 years ago. Okay, guys that are coming into their big money years, right? 5th-year options, second contract. So this is what they're talking about with second contracts. And I'm looking through. They're saying Kyler Murray, $280 million. Bosa, $150. Brian Burns, $120 million. Timmons, $110 million. Quinnen Williams, $103 million. DK Metcalf, $130. Debo, $100 million. Devin White, $105 million. McLaurin, $115 million. Rashawn Gary, $130 million. Okay? And I look and I say, where are we with our 2019 draft class for the Atlanta Falcons? This is the Falcons' 2019 draft class. Lindstrom, McGarry were both first rounders. Sheffield and Kaminsky in the 4th. Kadri Allison, Jordan Miller in the 5th. And Marcus Green in the 6th round. Okay. Now, why did I get so ticked off and aggravated? When you partner that up, okay, so that's 2, 4, 7 draft picks in 2019. Then you partnered up with the 6 draft picks in 18. Ridley, Oliver, Senat, Smith, Gage, Oluokun. Then you partner that up with the 6 draft picks in 2017. Tack, Duke Riley, Harlow, KZ, Brian Hill, and Eric Sober. This is a franchise that over a 3-year period, for guys who should be either final year of contract, 5th-year option, getting into the first year of their second contract, the Falcons in 19, 18, and 17 drafted 19 guys, and drafted exactly one guy that they're going to give a good second contract to and build their roster around. And that's Lindstrom. Now, with all due respect to Ridley, he, of course, suspension and this, that, and the other, but it looks like his days are numbered. So hopefully they get something of value for Calvin Ridley. But when you talk about McGarry, okay, they're not going to build around him. He'll probably be gone after this year. Sheffield and Kaminsky, they're already gone. Kadri Allison's hanging on by a thread as an Atlanta Falcon. Jordan Miller and Marcus Green are selling insurance somewhere. Isaiah Oliver's back on a 1-year, $1.25 million contract. Deidre Senat gone down to Tampa. Ito Smith probably bagging groceries somewhere. Russell Gage, Foye, Oluokun, because of not having enough money or deciding not to pay these guys, they're on to a different team. Tack hanging on in the league. Duke Riley, again, selling real estate somewhere. Sean Harlow selling real estate somewhere. KZ spent a year in Dallas. Brian Hill, Eric Sober, those guys are, hopefully trying out for the USFL and going to make a roster somewhere. My point is, you have 19 picks in a 3-year span. And for whatever reason, you've gotten one guy out of that you're going to give money to help build your roster around. When people tell me, oh, well, the Falcons are where they are because of Matt Ryan and Julio Jones and Deion Jones and all these bad contracts, wouldn't have mattered. You have 19 draft picks in a 3-year period that's in your home run window that you got virtually nothing right out of. Okay? Can I tell you, because I know this, well, Ridley was, yeah, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Calvin Ridley's not going to see a second contract for the Falcons for whatever reason. Does it really matter? Like, for instance, if you stick your hand, if you stick your right hand into a piece of farming equipment and it cuts it off, does it really matter the reasons why at that point? No. All that matters is you're going to be called lefty for the rest of your life. So the reasons don't matter. You're a team that made 19 draft picks and are going to end up with one guy of value. I don't want to hear about Isaiah Oliver. I don't want to hear about, by the way, I don't know that I would have paid Russell Gage the kind of money that he got. Does Russell Gage look like a $10 million receiver in this league? I don't think so. But Tampa Bay can do that because they're about to win a Super Bowl, right? That they're in full Super Bowl mode. So I probably wouldn't have paid him that kind of money. Foyer, we can debate. That was a pretty good draft pick, but the fact is that, are you sure he's a $15 million linebacker? I don't know. We'll see. We'll learn a lot about Foyer because Jacksonville spent more money in offseason free agency than anybody in the league. They put a lot of in there. But the fact that no matter what reasons are, that you have one guy, okay, even if you want to say if that had more money that it kept Foyer, okay, does that make you feel better that 2 out of 19 draft picks really worked out to where you're going to give them second contracts? That's why the Falcons are in the spot that they're in. And that's why having all this money in this, and who you can give money to? Sean Harlow, Tack McKinley, Deidre Sanat. You got nobody that you can go out there and say, oh, yeah, we want to we want to pay our guys this kind of, money out there. That's the frustrating part about this thing as a Falcons fan, is looking at where this roster is constructed. And that's why I say when we talk about getting guys to the next level, next step, Arnold Ebiketie and Drake London, they have to be franchise caliber. They have to be elite. They have to be home run picks. This has to be the same draft that the Buccaneers had a few years ago when Tom Brady first came to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The first draft that the Buccaneers had with Tom Brady, knowing he was going to be their quarterback. They flipped spots with the San Francisco 49ers, right? 49ers took Kinlaw, and the Buccaneers took Tristan Wirfs with that pick. Then they doubled down in the second round. They went with Antoine Winfield. Okay, they hit 2 grand slams with their first 2 picks. You got 2 all NFL players out of all of it. And when you do that, even as Brady comes, he goes, he starts, he stops, and Gronk starts and stops, those are guys that you build your roster around, and you're going to keep in the fold for the long term. Here, we've drafted so bad, and we haven't been able to figure things out that 1 or 2 guys out of 19 would have really been worth giving second contracts to. And yes, they found some players here and there and things like that. But if you can't keep your guys and you don't draft well enough to offer some of your guys big one, notice how not a single Falcon was in that discussion. Even Lindstrom, wasn't in the discussion of $100 million guy and this, that, and the other. It's one thing if they walk away and they're $100 million guys, that become top guys in the league. Maybe you don't want to spend that kind of money, but it's just maddening that looking at those 3 drafts, 19 draft picks, that you got one guy that you're going to end up building your roster around. That's why the Falcons are in this position of what are we going to be, needing a new head coach, needing a new GM, and we're just fledgling around with this roster. Better hope that Ebiketie and London become big-time home run hits. All right, when we come back, great weekend for the Atlanta Braves. Is this the turning point? Are we where we need to be? Let's talk some Braves baseball. Up next is Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.